Modern cars are crap at two things. Number one, ironing out that awful bit of the M25 motorway between junction 9 and 11 with the concrete expansion joints. If you've driven it, you'll know what I mean, because your face would have fallen off. And number two, very few cars let you watch iconic Australian kids cartoon Bluey on an 8K 31-inch TV in the back seats while you drive yourself to a clinic to have your testicles removed so you can't have any more children. Have more children, not have more Bluey. Bluey's awesome. But anyway, this car fixes both of those problems, and therefore it's the best car in the world if you're rich and a bit blind. I say you have to be rich to appreciate the BMW i7 because it costs from £100,000. This one, a dual motor M Sport, is £147,000, 26 grand of which is an option pack called the Ultimate Pack. And that gives you four-wheel steering, that TV, 48-volt anti-roll bars, an interior that is posher than an Airbus A380's business class, and loads of other stuff. And it's frankly an option pack you want, although it does also make the grille light up at night, so yeah. And looks-wise, you probably don't like it if you're like most people on the internet. But it doesn't matter, because if you're watching my channel, you're probably not in China, where BMW says it expects to sell 70% of these. But yeah, it's certainly got presence, although it is slightly plasticky when you poke around it. But anyway, let's have a look at it. Now, you're probably wondering if you're never going to see one of these, why the hell am I reviewing it? Well, because it's BMW's new flagship. It is packed with more technology than that shoebox under your mum's bed. It's frankly got the kitchen sink in it, under it, around it, and generally with it. And all the technology in here will hopefully trickle down to BMWs in the future. So it's an important car. Now, this is the new 7 Series. Obviously, you can get it with diesel engine, but this electric i7 is frankly where it's at, because it can do 352 miles in the real world. This particular one, on a full charge, do 352 miles, which is phenomenal from a big 101.7 kilowatt hour battery. Sadly, it can only charge at 195 kilowatts, which is a bit measly when Kia and Hyundai can do 350 kilowatts, but so what? Look at it, it is majestic, it is heavier than a small planet, it's 2.6 tons, and it is longer than several things I've seen on the internet at 5.4 meters. You really do want the rear wheel steer if you get one of these, because yeah, otherwise it's got the turning circle of a cargo ship. But just look at it, it's huge. But it's not what's on the outside that's important, it is on the inside, because yeah, it has slightly blown my mind living with this car. This next bit of the video is going to take a while, so grab a cup of tea, sit down, and let's see what the future of cars looks like. Doesn't look very futuristic, sat in a cow pat, but whatever. Let's roll with it. If I told you this was BMW's Rolls-Royce, then automatic opening doors should hopefully convince you. At first, you might just think, oh, the i7's cabin is typical modern BMW with these two massive infotainment screens, a fairly normal center console. But it's when you start digging into it where you see where the tech is going. You've got head-up display, which has got augmented reality in it, so it can show you which junctions to take. That is great until you wear polarized sunglasses. Then it disappears, which is a bit of an own goal. But whatever. The highlight of the front of the cabin for me is the sound system. As standard, you get a Bowers & Wilkins sound system with I think 14 or 15 speakers, which I'm sure sounds great, but if you get the 26 grand ultimate option pack or 6 grand separate option pack, you get the Bowers & Wilkins diamond system, and then you get 35 speakers, including 4 in the ceiling, like a proper cinema Dolby Atmos setup almost. It is phenomenal. And I've listened to it on podcasts and music, and I've tried to make it distort, I've tried to make it sound crap, and you just can't. You can fiddle with it and add reverb and all this kind of stuff. It is one of the most entertaining car sound systems I've ever heard. And when we get onto the TV review in a minute, it couples with that majestically. So yeah, well done BMW. And obviously it's an electric car, so it makes fake noises when you drive along. They've all been done by Hans Zimmer, and they sound amazing, although one of them does sound like a Stuka dive bomber. I've got wireless charger down here, I've got big door bins, which are lined with leather, not even felt. I've got big storage space down here. This one's got the optional carbon fiber trim. The other highlight is this crystal strip along the dashboard, which you can change the colors of. And when you put the car in sport mode, the seats not only hug you tighter, but it lights up red and blue, like the BMW M logo, which is kind of chintzy, but almost just really, really cool. Other things, you get nice Alcantara roof lining, full-length sunroof that can light up and do all sorts of funky stuff, and loads more. Crystal gear knob, crystal door, seat movement things, You can obviously open and close the doors automatically, and they've got sensors in, so they won't open it into a wall. They'll know how far they can open. And if I press the brake, the doors close again. Goodbye. This thing's ridiculous. Steering wheel's too thick though. Sort it out, BMW. I told you to get comfortable. I certainly have, because I've got the 6,000 or so pound rear seat comfort pack, part of the ultimate pack. I can put the passenger seat all the way forward. It's got a footrest that flips down. This comes up so my legs can stretch out. And I'm 6'3", and I can only just kick the back of that seat now if I really wanted to. The headrests are nice and poofy. That is lovely. And I've got an infotainment screen in the door, and there's one in that door as well. So I can turn on my massage seats. These are massage and cooled seats with that pack. And I can also control the pièce de résistance, the £4,000 optional included in the ultimate pack. 31-inch 8K screen. I can't see a single pixel on that screen. Now, it's an ultra-wide aspect ratio, so most of your content's going to play in this 16:9 bit in the middle. It is a touch screen, and you've got these bits at the edge which you can use to control things like the display, the input. It's got an HDMI input. I haven't tried running a console off it, but yeah, you can install your Netflixes, your Disney Pluses, your ITVs, and your Pornhub. No, it hasn't got that. It's got Piglet's Big Movie. But anyway, a friend of mine, he works one of these big streaming services, perhaps the one that has Piglet on it. He says that things like Bluey, they've done a special audio and video edit of their content just for this car, because it's got all those speakers and it's got this massive screen. Please, Siri, you're ruining my take. But yeah, it's a very, very special experience, and you can play the sound either through the car's speakers in surround sound or Bluetooth headphones, which come with the car. Should point out you've got USB-C charging points in the back of the front seats. Otherwise, it is just the best backseat experience I've had in any car, and I'm including Rolls Royces in that. This is epic. Oh, and when you have the TV down, the rear window blind automatically goes up so you don't distract the driver behind you, and so they don't watch your erotic content for free. Excellent. Now I'm going to show you the boot and take it for a drive, because the driving experience of this car is also on another level. Seriously. Oh yeah, one slight niggle. It's got a transmission tunnel because it's a diesel version. It's a bit old school BMW. Can we do without that? Oh yeah, also, you've got an armrest. It's got leather. It's got cup holders as well, but you need to remember to put it away before you slam it up. Ask me how I nearly broke that several times. Boot space on the i7 is pretty decent. It's 500 litres, it's quite tall that way, so you can get stuff in nice and easily. It's got a little pop-up space under there for all your charging cables. Hasn't got any tech in it though, so that's boring. It is also about 100 litres smaller than the one on the Mercedes EQS, despite the fact that's a slightly shorter car than this. But anyway, that's boring. Let's take it for a drive where I can whisper to you rather than shouting. Yay, we all win. All right, we're going to go for a quick drive in the i7. Sorry if there's any wind noise. I've got to have the aircon on because it is 32 degrees outside. And I run hot anyway, so I'm pretty sweltering. Now to drive, it is as easy as pie. You pull it back into D after you've pressed the start button. It goes boom, and the Hans Zimmer experience starts. So you've got Hans Zimmer in a Bimmer. So yes, if you can hear any noises during this other than the aircon fans, it's probably my bones creaking. Because frankly, driving this, it's like you've had a general anaesthetic, but in a really good way, like you've been pumped full of opiates, your buttocks can't feel anything, you can't hear much. It is incredibly, incredibly soothing to drive. Now, it's on air suspension as standard, but it's so well tuned. There's big bumps on this road. I'm barely aware of them. I've genuinely not driven a car, apart from maybe a Rolls Royce, that rides as well as this, but this has a sense of BMW-ness and a connection with the road that you don't get in a Rolls Royce. And I don't mean it's got loads of steering feel, it hasn't, it's got very light steering, but it corners incredibly flat when you start going quickly, and you can go quite quickly. I've got more than 500 horsepower in this version, loads of torque, dual motors, and a sub 5 second 0 to 60 time, so yeah, I think I'm in Stuka mode still. Driving modes, you've got a My Modes button here, you've got Personal, Sport, which is a little bit buried, Efficient, then you've got all the ones which change the screen into artworks and make weird noises, like this one. Oh yes, this driving mode puts your massage seat on. Don't really know what's going on. So yeah, I mean, you get this experience in the new BMW iX1 as well, so it's nothing unique to this car. But it's quite addictive, and the Hans Zimmer noises sound great through these speakers. You just end up breaking the speed limit to hear all of the noise, but whatever. Drives incredibly well. Now, What else can I say really, other than it's easy to see out of, apart from when you've got the TV screen down, because the rear blind goes up, as I said, so it doesn't distract other drivers, then you can't see out the back at all. But you've got so many camera systems on this car. I've never found parking a faff other than finding a 5.5 metre plus long space to get into. But yeah, it is so refined. It's so refined. It's more refined than any Bentley because it's not got a sodding great petrol engine. The only thing is, this junction is quite hard to get out of, and despite being an electric car, has a massive nose. I mean, oh yeah, we're going to dive bomb the radar tower at Gravesend. Sorry, I need to turn that driving mode off. Let's just put it in sport. Yes, now I've got lots of red and blue lights. Does it feel sporty? God, it does feel fast. It has got one paddle. It's got a gear shift paddle, but only on the left-hand side, which gives you a 10-second sport boost. So if you pull that, you can do launch control and make your backseat passengers drop their champagne while they're watching Pride and Prejudice on that screen. So yeah, it's not a car you're going to drive quickly, but you can if you want to. It still feels like a BMW, and you don't feel like you're going to crash if you accidentally end up at a corner at 90 miles an hour, which you might do because it's quite fast. But just listen. Silence. I'm going to have to take it to a quick bit of motorway to do 70 miles an hour just to prove my point. Then we'll go back to me for an outro. I'll make it quick though. Sorry, I realise this video has been going on a bit. So, I'm about to go from a 50 mile an hour limit to a motorway 70 mile an hour speed limit. The Toyota Aygo's just pulled out on me, but let's go. 60. I'm now doing 70 miles an hour. I don't know how loud it is in here, but it's not very loud at all. We've got a bit of wind noise, so there's a breeze. That's about it. A tiny bit of tyre roar. It is so relaxing to cruise in, it's ridiculous. Now, I should praise it as well because it's a modern BMW electric car. It's got their very clever adaptive brake regeneration, so you can just put the regen in the adaptive mode and it will automatically slow you down as much as you need to for upcoming speed limit changes, or if there's a car slowing down in front of you. It uses the GPS, it uses the radars, it uses all sorts of stuff to work out how much you need to slow down. So if I lift off now, it's going to stay at roughly the same speed. It's crazy. So yeah, you can really one pedal drive this most places, and it's very, very satisfying. And it's very softly calibrated as well, the accelerator, so you can really chauffeur people around in this in complete comfort. Likewise, the brakes aren't grabby. It's just a real pleasure to drive. It's lovely. But anyway, I think I've said enough nice things about the way this car drives. Let's head back to me and the lay-by of justice for a very quiet conclusion. That motorbike was a bit noisy. It's very uncouth. You start getting annoyed by the noise of other people's conveyances. Now, as I often tell my lovers, if you go through life judging things based on their looks, you're going to miss out on some quality experiences. And this BMW i7 is no different. It looks a bit weird. It looks a bit designed for the Chinese market. But it is the most comfortable car I've ever driven, yet it still handles. The cabin is incredibly special. The backseat entertainment thing is insane. The sound system is the best I've ever heard in a car. And whenever a new 7 Series comes out, it's always a huge, huge deal because that technology will hopefully start trickling down into some more affordable models. Would I pick it over a Mercedes EQS? Yes, because it drives better, it's faster, it's more comfortable, it's more refined, and it's got more tech. So I'm sorry, Mercedes, you've got a lot of catching up to do already. It's going to depreciate like a stone because all BMW 7 Series do, and this one's electric, so that's the double whammy of depreciation. So maybe in a couple of years, if you can get one of these for 60, 70 grand, snap it up, because it's a really special moment in BMW's history if you can get past the looks. Now, I would say this almost rivals BMW's other luxury brand, Rolls-Royce, because it drives better and it's just as quiet. It feels like a car designed to be electric, and it can do big miles as well. So yeah, super impressed with it. One of the best cars I've driven this year. Sorry if you think it's ugly, but get past that, get over yourself and appreciate it for what it is. says the man in shorts and spotty socks. But anyway, if this has been entertaining, if you've liked it, please give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel. Go down to the comments and leave me the German word for I am reclined and ready for you, like the back seat in this. And I'll see you next time. I've been Tim, that's been the BMW i7. Auf Wiedersehen.